everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to episode 158 of In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver and gold. Last week we had a pair of octopi, or octopuses, I don't know what the plural is, someone tell me in the comments, from Dixie Silver Miner. Really stunning pieces. If you've not checked that video out, there's a link as always down in the description below. Go and have a look after today's video, which is going to be on an awful lot of coins because, and I have a bit of a bone to pick with you all about this, you did not cast a deciding vote. There was an exact three-way tie between these three distinct regions, so I guess everybody's happy in that sense, except for myself, because now I have, 20 odd coins to feature in one video and talk about. I'm not going to be able to talk about every single coin in detail and tell you about its history and stuff, but I thought whilst we've got all of these lovely old school worldly coins on the table here, we can have a really good look at them and see them and enjoy them, but also talk about old school silver and the sad history of it, in the sense that these coins represent kind of a finite period of history that is never going to be repeated with silver coinage. So there's an awful lot to talk about here today. We're also going to examine whether or not some of these are potentially good buys for the future, whether you can use them as bartering tools, some of their pitfalls, some of the things that might not be so good about having old school worldly silver like this. Lots to talk about. Before we jump into all of that though, a very quick reminder that there is going to be a sneak peek at the end of today's episode for what we are featuring next time. So make sure you stick around and have a look if you're interested to find out what we're going to feature next week. So where to start? We've got a whole bunch of coins here. Now the original idea was to have these three distinct regions. We have coins of Canada, we have coins of kind of Central and South America, and then we had coins of Switzerland with the Miss Helvetia and the Swiss Miss. And as I said, it was a three-way tie, so let's crack on with all of them. Now, I'm not going to be going through every single coin in all of its detail, telling you all of the ins and outs of every single bit of it and the history of it. Well, I'm going to go through some of the history of the different metal types that were used in these different countries, and we'll admire the coins. But one thing I wanted to start with this discussion is the sadness of these coins. They are a representation of a bygone time and a bygone era that will never be repeated again. The reason these coins are made of silver is because at the times that they were used, you see here we've got a couple of coins from the 30s, in fact both of those from 1935, and this one all the way back to 1880. They represent coins out of real precious metals, silver. You know, there obviously were gold coins in circulation at those times as well, but the most commonly used coins within society were silver coins, because of course silver was a lot cheaper, a lot more easy to use, and it was a lot more durable when used in these kind of alloys, and we'll talk a little bit about the alloys as we go through. And it's a really sad state of affairs that these are now essentially, you know, bygone coins of or coins of a bygone era, and will never see their like reproduced. You see all these modern 999 bullion coins, or these commemorative sterling coins coming out from the Royal Mint, these proof 50p's and things like that. Those are not currencies. They're not coins that are in circulation. These silver coins would have represented significant holdings and wealth for the individuals that had them. And it's, I think, just quite sad that we'll never see that again in history. That silver, you know, it's obviously, of course, down to the gold standard and the way that the world has changed in the past. And I've done videos on that before. But it is sad in a way that these coins are, you know, these are the last that we'll see of them. And some of them I've got on the table here. And I think we've got sort of Canadian $half from 1944. This is not one of the last silver coins that were out there. It's one of the last, let me get this right, I've got them here, 80% silver coins that were out there, because after a certain date for the Canadian coins, they went to 50% silver. And then, of course, in the 1960s, as did most countries around the world, you started seeing coins stop being used, or silver stop being used in circulation coins. It was just too expensive. The price of silver was just too prohibitive to create silver coinage, which is a real sad thing. And then, of course, we saw the complete abandonment of gold standards, and that was it. Life kind of moved on, and we all now use and have fiat currencies. But what I like about this array of silver coins here is that you've got, first off, evidence here that even in the dark reaches of South America, this is Peru, you know, Republica Peruvia, or Peruna, and you know, this is from 1880 and it's silver. worldwide, no matter what the country, no matter what the state of its history or economy, precious metals were used. And I find that fascinating. The second thing I find fascinating is this coin, 139 years old. Really incredible to have that piece of history, and just think about the journey that this has been on. You can see it's worn, you can see it's being handled and used, and maybe being in someone's pocket, purses, wherever it might be, which is just really exciting to find. I love that. I love that sort of history of coins, and you can see that here with this 50 cents Canadian coin here as well. This is one of the, I believe, the sterling silver Canadian coins, because it's all the way back to 1910. I could be wrong, but I've made notes of these, and I think this is the sterling silver. Now, that's one thing to talk about, the different compositions of these coins and the metals that are in them. Of course, if you have the 999 pure silver coins that we have now, you are going to get dings, dents and scratches. I picked the wrong coin really, I suppose, when there's a great big scratch all the way down Edward the Seventh's face there. But the point is that in the olden times, it was very difficult to get that pure silver, that 999 silver. In fact, I don't really know if it was even possible back in the 1900s. Could be wrong, but who knows? And alloying it was the simplest way to make it more durable. So these, of course, being coins, being in pockets, being in purses, they're meant to jingle jangle around, and you can just listen to that lovely noise. Just really lovely. And they're meant to be durable, so they're meant to have that that longevity to them, which is one of the reasons why they last so long. But what I really like is you can see throughout history the changing attitudes towards silver in the currencies. So in fact, let's go to the Swiss coins first. So I've got a really nice selection here of some very cool old school Swiss coins, and in fact here we've got two really very cool different alloy types. I don't unfortunately have any of the 80% alloy types, but this one back here, if we can get this in focus, this one here is 1863 and it is 90% silver. And then there was a very small period in Swiss coinage history where it went down to 80% silver. So even all the way back when this was all in the 1800s still, it was still seen as perhaps having a lower grade of alloy was better for the coinage. It was either more durable or it was more economically efficient to have the silver in that alloy. And then eventually it was settled upon that it would be 83.5%. So that's really interesting. I think that there's a difference throughout the history there, and I think these coins have held up really well. They're really very cool indeed, and it's interesting to see about the different standards of silver. Of course, the United Kingdom was using sterling silver up until 1921, and then it went to 50% silver in 1921. So they abandoned the sort of high-end part of the silver content quite early on, whereas the Swiss went all the way up to 1967 creating these type of coins with 83.5% silver. So really interesting, I think, that different countries have different attitudes towards those alloys and the percentages that are in them. Of course, Canada, we've seen here, we've got the 92.5%, then it went down to 80%, and then it went down to the 50% silver. So lots of very, very interesting bits of history there. And let's now finish up the video with, let's have a little bit of a quick discussion about whether or not these coins represent a pretty good buy or a pretty good investment. Now, as a kind of collector, I'm not really a numismatic collector, and if anyone out there really does think that these are numismatically worth a lot of money, then that's really good news for me, because a lot of these I've picked up in junk lots along the way from coin fairs. You pick them up in junk bins where it's basically just sold at melt value, or through eBay, and you get nice good deals on bulk items, or these kind of coins here, they'll go on eBay and you're probably paying a little bit over the odds in terms of the raw weight of silver, but I always think that if you can get them a good price, they just can't go too far wrong. It's fractional silver, which is always really good. Look at the detail on that. I think I picked this one up off eBay for maybe about £1.50 or something, and I can't remember the weight off the top of my head, but I think in the raw silver terms it's about that anyway. So it's got a piece of history to it, it's got a really good aesthetic to it, they're not very common at all, and I really like them, and that's, I think, the most important thing. In terms of whether they're going to perform incredibly well in the future, again, this is one of the little bugbears I have with these types of coins, and people picking them up and then complaining that they don't get a good return on them if it's a sort of numismatic coin. If you have to sell things quickly and at a time not of your choosing, you will lose money on coins, you will lose money on silver. If you take the time to have these sold properly to the right kind of people who will be interested in them, then you are more likely to get a good deal out of it and get a better return. Love this little old coin here. You can see even it's got 0.900 there, the 90% silver content. Really very cool indeed. So in terms of them being a investment, I mean, I use these as a way to tick my collector's box, and I always have had a collection of coins, and I really enjoy being able to pick up some cheap silver coins along the way and basically enjoy them and show them on here on YouTube, but also to have in my collection. And I've got a huge folder of old school coins as well. That's one of the things I enjoy doing. It's a great way to save money as a hobby as well, because unless you're really getting into the high-end numismatics and you're risking thousands of pounds on Gothic florins or anything silly like that, if you're just buying old school junk silver, you can learn stuff, you can enjoy the history, you can enjoy the coin, and you can, save money at the same time, because ultimately these are all going to be worth a certain amount of money. And, some people will go out there and they'll do, hobbies, and I'm not going to, I'm not berating anybody for doing these hobbies, but they'll do hobbies where they have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds a month on their hobbies, like shooting or horse riding or something. And my sister-in-law is a big horse rider, and she spends an inordinate amount of money on horse riding and stabling. And whilst that's very fun, she doesn't get anything out of it at the other end other than nice memories and a broken collarbone. But we'll ignore that. For me, this collection represents a really fun journey. For me, I enjoy them, I like them, and I get to have something physical at the end that will be there forever. So I kind of like them, and I that's my take on it. For anybody really watching this and thinking, oh great, I'm going to go out and jump on and buy loads of old school silver coins, that wasn't financial advice, what I'm saying. It's just me talking about what I enjoy. Bear that in mind. They are, if you can get them cheap, they're a good buy. If you can get them expensive, they might end up costing you a pretty penny. So, old school silver coins, what do you guys think? Which is your favourite coin here on the table? I am torn between this Republic of Panama coin. I really do like that. That's very, very cool indeed. And there is something just about the Swiss Miss. We haven't talked about the Swiss Miss, but let's have a very quick look at her. So Helvetia, the Swiss Miss, look at her there. Fantastic. Got some real elegance to her. And I have to say, so the Helvetia would make a really good coin. You know the Germania mint coins that are coming out at the moment? We've got the Allegory series with the Britannia and Germania. Then we've got the Columbia and Germania as well. Helvetia Germania, that might be cool. So if anyone from the Germania Mint is watching that might be a little bit of free R&D for you. Go and make a Helvetia coin, because she is very popular indeed. So anyway, that is that for this week. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on which was your favourite of these coins, and your thoughts generally on old school worldly silver, and whether or not you feel equally as sad as myself about them. So, quick sneak peek at next week's feature. We're going to be checking in with the World of Dragon series from Provident Metals. We've got the Norse, which is brand new in, and we're going to have a look back at all of the others in the series and have a look at all of them and talk about how they're doing and whether or not they are performing well. So, should be a pretty good week next week. So, that is it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, please put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on our channel. Otherwise, that is it for today. Thank you one and all for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.